Morning, all. I'd like to, at 10:22, we'll call to order the County Development Committee meeting of Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. I'm the chairman, John Martin. I'd ask please that the clerk call the roll.
Brown,
Here.
Berman,
Berman here.
Ford,
Present.
Iqbal,
Iqbal present.
Kenyon, Wojnicki,
Here.
Braz,
Here.
Caius,
Guys present.
Pirog, Shepro, Martin,
Martin present. We have a
you have a
quorum.
quorum.
Thank you, said the chorus. We have minutes, proposed minutes of the June 15th meeting before us. May I have a motion for approval, please?
Wojnicki moves.
Barr moves,
I
Mr.
second.
Kyle seconds. Do we have comments, questions, or changes? Hearing none, please call the roll for approval.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Wojnicki,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes. We have a number of people signed for public comment. I believe that all of the people are directed toward, all of the proposed testimonies are going to be offered for specific petitions. The one I'm not familiar with is Mr. Weiler. Mr. Weiler, are you?
Yes, I'm the
in regard
attorney.
to
Yes, my comments would relate to item 5B on the agenda, the zoning petition of Monday Landscaping.
Okay. Are there any other individuals seeking to make public comment during this meeting? Hearing none, then we have no one present from the finance department, but the financials are on file. Building and zoning division, may we have our building and zoning report, please?
Good morning, everyone. This is Mark Van Kerkhoff. We've been busy in the couple of months since we
You
were.
need a mic.
This one not working. That end one sometimes has issues. So
That's better.
thank you. We've had a busy couple of months since the last report at Development Committee meeting. First item I wanted to cover a little bit in detail. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, we had some severe weather come through, and Development Department's role, along with our very fine emergency responders, is to respond to requests to take a look at damage that incurred. And with the tornado that came through just west of Burlington, there was one home where the roof was torn off by the tornado. Fortunately, no one was injured. The single occupant had taken shelter in the basement, but there was severe damage. Spencer Cronin, one of our building inspectors, grabbed a truck, and once the storm path that went through central Kane County cleared, we were able to get up to that area, and following on the heels of a very fine emergency response teams, touch base with 4 of the property owners that received damage, gave them information on how they can initiate damage assessment permits with our department. And special thanks to Spencer Cronin. Once we reached the home that had the roof torn off, the fire department had said no one could enter the building. After walking around it, we did observe that it, well, severely damaged. It was stabilized enough that Spencer Cronin went into the home with the owner so that he could retrieve the medications that he and his wife needed. So appreciate the commitment of our team on that, and also personally got to see the fine work of our emergency management team and spotters and everybody out there. It's really quite an amazing sight. The other thing that's kept us busy the last couple of months is with the Illinois reopening, special event permits are back online. We work closely with the health department to develop an additional form for people to sign, saying that they understood that and would abide by recommendations from the CDC and Illinois Department of Public Health with their event. So we've had a uptick in special event permits. And then somewhat related to that, we've actually had increase in interest in filming activities. We are just outside the 30-mile limit for union filming rules in the city of Chicago, but Chicago is a hub, and some of these smaller series shows, HBO, Amazon, whatever, are looking for more unique locations. So we've had a number of requests, a couple actually filming this week out in Drew Fraz's district for Amazon. So it's been a learning experience. I've been working with Madam Chairman and Illinois Film Department to look at how we can improve what we do to accommodate and coordinate a production permit, because unlike a special event permit, it's not necessarily just on a single site, although one of the filming locations is on a particular farmstead. But they also oftentimes want to do staging in other locations, use roads for filming activities and everything. So we're looking at how we can not only do that better, but also encourage that kind of economic activity. Once they're outside of that 30-mile limit, they need to put people up in hotels. So that's generally a good thing. So we'll be coming back with more information on that. And then in general, code enforcement activities are up in the summer months anyway. We continue during the pandemic to do all the property maintenance and nuisance investigations and enforcement, since our partners at the health department are busy, obviously, dealing with COVID issues. And then finally, I just wanted to report that I have drafted a reopening plan and submitted that to HR, as well as Chairman Martin and Madam Chairman Pirog. As I was working on that in July, I was initially looking at a reopening for public hours on September 7th. As things continue to change, unfortunately for the worse, we're probably going to be pushing that date back. We're very grateful that we've been able to operate primarily remotely with our team. Just so you know, while we don't have currently public hours, our team does respond to anyone who wants to meet in person, or they come in as needed to access files and do the tasks that we have. But particularly elderly people challenged with English not necessarily being their primary language, or other technology issues, if they call and want assistance personally at the office, our team comes in and by appointment does that. And then generally our contractor customers, which is the bulk of the people we do business with for building permits, really like the email and paperless process, since they don't have to spend time and money to drive in to see us. So those things we will continue doing even once we reopen physically for public hours. And with that concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
It's interesting to me how the pandemic, for all of its difficulties, has kind of, in some ways, led us into areas of modernization that we might not have otherwise pursued. And then I guess the question everybody has is, when are these movie people going to start filming our meetings? Because they certainly have to hold some interest to the general public. And you don't know the answer. Mr. Fraz.
No, I just wanted to thank Mark. I was out by that tornado area very shortly after it happened, and it was kind of cool to see a Kane County truck there, literally as the people were still walking around stunned. We had staff on site, so commendations to them on that. And yeah, as far as this, the last issue, as far as reopening market, so if a builder or somebody has a question and the department's closed upstairs, is the best route to get an answer to go onto the county website under building and zoning, or what's the process?
Yeah, certainly. So on the county's website, we have notification that we're not open for public hours, and detailed instructions in an email, both for submitting permit applications. We've now made our PDF application form a fillable form, so people can download that, fill that in, and send it in without having to print and then rescan to send it in. So everything we can to help people do paperless. We were already set up through IT, fortunately, to have online check and card payments. So we have instructions for that. Our team also regularly walks through people that on the phone. as well. And but if someone does want to come in person, they make that appointment on the phone. Several of our permit techs live fairly close to the county office here, and they're happy to come in and do that for folks who need that attention. So just in general, if anyone, any contractors, anyone, constituents has any questions about that process, we're happy to assist them in person, but currently not just having walk-in hours.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Kenyon.
I was amazed. I was reporting a zoning complaint. Was that Saturday?
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday or Sunday, and I got an immediate response from this young man. They're already on top of it. It's like 6 different landscapers occupying property on Army Trail Road. But it's pretty impressive that they work 24 hours, 7/24.
Well, I was impressed that they beat Drew Fraz to the site of the damage. He's a storm chaser,
was
and I
still in the
thought he was
basement.
probably there while the
First
funnel was
time,
still
but
in
yeah,
the
it's
air.
kind of fun. I was busy dealing with all the Hollywood stuff in my district. But
Oh,
I did
wow.
find time to go up there.
You weren't lighting fires out there or anything like that?
All right. We have now zoning petitions. The first being petition 4579. I'm going to ask the speakers, or Mr. Mundy, are you wanting to make a presentation, or are you here to answer questions?
I'm here to answer questions, but Bernie is speaking for me.
Okay, Mr. Weiler, are you going to make a presentation, or are you also answering
Yeah,
questions?
just very briefly, I would like to address the committee.
Okay, if you offer your name and address, please, for the,
Yeah, my name is Bernie Weiler. My residence address is 1770 Molitor Road in Aurora, Illinois.
go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, I represent Monday Landscaping, which has been in business in Kane County for the last 52 years. It has grown to a state where it now wants to establish a proprietary interest in its facilities, which until now have always been rented. They are currently operating out of a site that is similar to this site, which is on the south, near the southeast corner of Indian Trail and Mitchell Road. They are.
I'm on a Zoom call. Let me get back to you.
They are on this property is on the northeast corner of Mitchell Road and Indian Trail. So they would just be moving, probably about a half a mile to locate their facility here. The petition asks that the zoning be changed from farming to F2 in order to accommodate the horticultural use that is planned by Monday Landscaping. It's a 3-acre site, 2 acres of which will be dedicated to planting plant material to be used in their projects. There would also be all of the 3 structures that are currently on the property have reached the end of their useful life and will be removed. And there will be the erection of a metal sheath pole building to accommodate the storage of equipment and also to accommodate the office uses of the business. There will be, although the information that has been submitted with the petition indicates that there's a significant list of equipment, excavation equipment and maintenance equipment, so forth. Most of that equipment during the landscaping season, spring, summer, and fall, is in the field. Much of that equipment during the winter is also located at the stages of the snow removal sites that are serviced by Monday Landscaping, which include 38 buildings for one of the contiguous school districts, and also the city of Aurora that does where they do local street plowing, and also the restoration of emergency excavations for where water mains rupture and so forth. So all of that equipment will not be stored there, but anything that will be stored there will be stored within a fenced facility that will be properly screened. The property is currently screened by about a 15-foot natural barrier of thick deciduous and coniferous trees. Those will be left. So there will be really no intrusion to the neighboring properties. With regard to traffic, the 26 employees, probably 21 of which work in the field, will be, most of them report to the sites where the equipment has already been staged. Others will be leaving from the site with equipment. And so it would be 7 to 8 crews per day that would leave in about a 1-hour window. So you have maybe one traffic movement every 10 to 15 minutes. That would occur during the morning and in the evening. That would not contribute to the traffic because that traffic is already being generated by this business just on the other side of Indian Trail. There are conditions that have been set by 2 of the county committees. One is the Transportation Department with regard to the entrances. Those are acceptable to Monday Landscaping and will be implemented into the plan, as are the stormwater management requirements that have been set forth as a condition of the recommendation of the prior committee. So, we're looking for the opportunity for a long-term business that has been operating in the county to grow within the county and to maintain the employment within the county. And we believe that this site will be substantially improved by an operating business that actually is accountable for the landscaping of many institutional buildings, such as the Aurora Police Station, the campus of Aurora University, many of the buildings in one of the local school districts, and Rush Copley Hospital. So that's the type of campuses that they are maintaining, and this facility would be maintained in keeping with those criteria and quality standards.
Right. Thank
So
you.
we would ask that this be approved in order for them to go forward with this plan.
Thank you. Mr. Van Kerkhoff, would you please make your presentation?
Sure, thank you. Blair, can you put up the PowerPoint? I believe it's embedded in the agenda also, so.
$45.79.
Yeah, it's higher up on the list, right after monthly building report.
Page 28.
Okay, if you could advance it about 3 slides. This is the for petition. The PowerPoint is in one more, please. If you could, can I advance it from here? Okay, this is the location of the subject property on the county's 2040 plan. It is in an area that's designated and planned for urban residential and mixed use job creating uses. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, thank you. Here it is on the zoning map. You can see it is zoned F district farming. It is surrounded by other F district farming properties in the county, as well as one special use to the east. Everything with the red hashes is in the city of Aurora. Here it is on the aerial, kind of gives you an idea of the basic trending character of land uses along Mitchell Road. Here's a close-up of the proposed site. You can see just to the east is the Turner Club, which has a special use. Here's the subject property. And there it is again. You can see the propagation on site. And plat of survey submitted with the petition. Here's their site plan. You can see they were proposing a new building and a new enclosed yard for their equipment, as well as planting areas. F2s are kind of a hybrid type of business allowed in the F district because they do combine agriculture and propagation with construction and installation and maintenance. Oftentimes they make seasonal use of their equipment by doing snow plowing during the winter when they're not able to do landscaping. So these are all common features of an F2 business. There's the list of equipment. Staff recommended stipulations include some recommendations from the Water Resources Department and the Division of Transportation. Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with the 3 recommended stipulations from staff. It's before you this morning. We do need to know we do have 1 objector, the City of Aurora. I don't know if the petitioner wants to address that or not, but an official objection does at the county board level force a 3/4 vote for approval of the petition. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Let's have a motion first and then proceed. Mr. Fries moves, Ms.
Wojnicki
Winicky
seconds.
seconds. I have a question relative, what's the nature of the Aurora objection?
Generally, this being surrounded by the city, they'd like to see it annexed. That is usually a general policy of the county as well. If things can be annexed into a city, that be done. In this case, the petitioner is electing to proceed with their right to request rezoning from the county. I don't know if the petitioner wants to elaborate on any ongoing negotiations with the city or not at this time.
We believe that this is appropriate to be developed within the county with regard to the county standards. There's been no effort by the city to annex this property for the many years that it has been within the county. We believe that this is, properly developed within the county. We have had limited discussions with the city with regard to their objection, in which they had indicated that at some point in time they would like to annex it. But other than that, we have not had any significant discussions with the city of Aurora.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions?
Comment.
Mr. Berman.
Berman, do they require water and sewer?
The water and sewer is already there.
Provided by the city of Aurora, or is that?
Sewer, of course, by Fox Metro, and water by the city of Aurora.
Ms. Fraz.
Looking at the site plan, the equipment storage yard, I just don't have enough detail that I can read this, but is there a fence extending from the building? I think that would be south.
Yes, there will be. The equipment yard will be completely enclosed with an opaque fence.
Yeah, I think they did a great job with the site plan. I think somebody driving by here would not even know exactly what was happening there. They'd see the entrance to the office area and the employee parking. And of course, we're gaining retention on the site, which isn't currently there. I'm somewhat familiar with Monday. I think they at one time were at like 31 in Jericho, so they're a growing company. They've been around 52 years, and they're kind of a fixture around Aurora and have a great reputation. So I would support this.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon. Yes. Wojnicki,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
passes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
The next matter is petition 4491, and I apologize. Is it Mr. Gebel or Geibel? Either one.
Gebel.
Gebel, are you answering questions or are you intending to make a presentation?
I'm here to comment on the petition.
Okay, then please do. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. When Mr. Esparza first presented
Can I
this,
have your, please state your full name and your address.
my full name is Mike Gebel, Giebel, 19 Pasadena Drive, Oswego, Illinois, 60543. We live adjacent east of the trucking company. And when this was approved on February 26th of 2019, he has not really lived up to any of the agreement that was approved by you people. He's slowly but surely doing this, but now he parks his trucks on the east side of the property where the fence is not installed yet. He used to park them on the south end of the lot, and now he's since moved them up on the east side since the drive has been closed off to 30 finally. And he works on the trucks outside of his little 2-car garage. He has not built the building that he said he was going to put up to work on the trucks. So he's pounding on the trucks after they park them at 4, usually till 6:30, 7 o'clock. And we can sit in the backyards and view the trucks. There is no fence. Unfortunately, the people at 15 Pasadena have fallen on hard times, and their fence is deteriorating very badly. And even if he puts up a 6-foot fence, we're still going to be able to see the trucks. Because the trucks, like I say, he's parking them right on the east property line now. The trucks are going to be clearly visible, even with an 8-foot fence. And all we just ask is that he sticks to the things that were agreed upon in February of 2019 and get some of this stuff done. The building's not up. He's working on the trucks in a drive. Like I say, he's pounding on them, disturbs us. He usually does it, he usually quits 6:30, 7 o'clock, but I mean, they're still pounding on him early. And like I said, even if he sticks an 8-foot high fence up there, you're still going to be able to see the trucks because that's where he parks them now on the east property line.
Thank you.
That's
Does
all I
that
have.
conclude your comments?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. To enable further discussion here, may we have a motion? Ms. Winnicki moves.
Brown seconds.
Mr. Brown seconds.
Thank you. We do have some
Discussion.
slides to illustrate the request. This is a petition that was approved by the Kane County Board with conditions. It is a special use, so the site plan is part of the zoning that was approved. And this is its location just south of Route 30. You can see right adjacent is the Pasadena subdivision with the speaker living, I can't read one of those lots adjacent to the special use. Here's an aerial of the area. Again, you can see the petitioner's site and the residential uses. This is the area where the request this morning for a lower height fence is. And this is before you, by the way, is a minor adjustment to the approved site plan for the zoning. The petitioner approached county staff saying that materials were difficult to find for an 8-foot fence and requested approval to do a 6-foot fence because of the availability and cost of material. Staff did not feel comfortable making that type of approval unilaterally and decided that the minor adjustment process to the site plan would be best because it does notify the neighboring property owners and gives them opportunity to comment like you have this morning. And then ultimately it's development committee's authority to approve or not approve a minor adjustment. This does not go on to the full county board. This is the original site plan for the special use, which included abandoning a drive off of Route 30 and putting a new drive off from the south. did include construction of a building for maintenance of trucks in the future, as the neighbor commented that has not happened yet. Here's a more detail on the site plan. This is highlighting the site plan that calls out for an 8-foot fence up against the residential uses. These are just some notes from the special use description where they stated they would erect an 8-foot fence. Again, this has not been done yet. So it's before you this morning. I'm happy to answer any questions, but your vote would be to either approve a change to a 6-foot fence or deny the request, in which case the petitioner would be required to install the 8-foot fence as originally designed. And based on either way, in your decision this morning, based on the representations from the neighbor, we will work with the petitioner to set a distinct timeline to have this completed or be in violation of their petition, as well as review the site plan in terms of the appropriateness of the parking of the trucks on the east property line. Thank you.
Mr. Fries.
Yeah, I guess he answered somewhat of my question. I was a little concerned about the timeline. It sounds like, can he currently use the property as is, as he does the improvements? And is there a drop dead date to have that approved or completed? I mean,
in cases like this, we would be, no, there's not a drop dead. He can use the property, but he is currently, by not having the fence up, in a sense, in violation of the use that was granted, and that would be pursued by a violation notice, working him to set a schedule for erecting either the 6 or the 8-foot fence, whichever you decide today. And if he does not complete that, would face fees and fines through our administrative adjudication process.
it's always tough when you have residential usage backing up to a fairly heavy zoning, which we did approve, but part of that approval was to do these improvements. And I can tell you from experience, there's a big difference between a 6-foot fence and an 8-foot fence when it comes to trucks, which are 10 to 12 feet tall. A tall person can look over a 6-foot fence. We did have the lumber shortage and the price increases, but that seems to be waning very quickly. And I know the lumber mills are all back up to full production. So as long as we have some time flexibility, I would say deny this and live up to what we promised the neighbors, which is an 8-foot fence, even if it maybe takes a little bit longer. I appreciate a small company, struggling to get all these things done, but they did promise to get them done, and I think we should stick to it.
Thank you. Ms. Winnicki?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are there other conditions and improvements that didn't occur, improvements from the 2019 presentation?
We'll review that. I don't know if Jody has any comments on that as well, because some of the conditions and improvements were related to the drainage on the site.
The stormwater permit is still open on this site. They have been coordinating with the Village of Montgomery, who's installing a stormwater pipe. So that will not be closed out until the Village of Montgomery's work is complete. The petitioner side of the work is complete. However, the village's is not.
Oh, okay.
I thought they were going to build a building. Has that been completed or?
That has not been completed, and we will review that with the petitioner also in terms of the location and activities of repairing trucks outside a building. So we will follow up on that with them as well.
Yeah, I'm sure the noise is as bad as the view of the truck. So.
Mr. Fries?
Yeah, and again, with the cost of lumber and metal soaring, a lot of people have put some building projects on hold until things level off. So I guess I could show a little bit more flexibility on the building completion, but the fence height is what I would stand fast on.
Well, we do to remember that the matter before us today is the height of the fence, but I share what I think is the expressed opinion that the neighbors ought not be the people that bear the risk of the project. There were certain, my opinion, in the for what it's worth column is that there were certain commitments made and certain recommendations from staff that we adopted, and I see no reason to change those at this point in time either. Are there any other comments or questions? So a motion, we had a motion yet? I apologize.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the request. So if you vote in favor of this, it will lower the fence to 6 feet from the 8 feet. If you vote to no, then it will stay at the 8-foot level that was prescribed by ordinance. Is everybody clear on that? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Berman,
Berman, no.
Ford,
No.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, no.
Kenyon, Wojnicki,
No.
Brown,
No.
Martin,
No,
failed.
motion denied.
Quite a message.
Planning and special projects.
Thank you. You have in your packet the report of the activities of our planning team. They report in detail to other committees, so I just ask that you, well, I'm happy to answer any questions, but just ask that you put this on file at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Hearing none. I don't believe we have any subdivision today, do we? So please take it away, Ms. Walling.
Blair, could you bring up the cost share presentation, please? We have a number of cost share and drainage projects before you this morning. The first one is on Memory Lane. This is the Memory Lane Drainage Improvement Cost Share Project. It's located in unincorporated Dundee Township in the Lake Marion subdivision. It's a failed drain tile that's causing surface flooding and 3 properties that doesn't even dissipate when we have a major drought. The project plan would replace the drain tile. Here we go. The red line is the existing drain tile. The owners have worked with the property owner to the south to bring that directly south. The cost share is for a 50-50 split with the residents for a total project cost of $5,380.00. And we're recommending approval of the Memory Lane cost share project.
May we have a motion, please?
Wojnicki moves.
Our moves. Mr. Kyle seconds. Comments or questions?
It's, this is Caius.
Yes, sir.
It's in my district and I support it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Berman, yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Wojnicki,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
that passes.
Motion carries. Item C, please.
The next project we have for you this morning is the Prairie Farm Drainage Improvement Project. This is located in unincorporated Hampshire Township in the Prairie Farm subdivision, and it's the failure of a 24-inch diameter corrugated metal pipe for the outfall. The detention basin for this subdivision was originally constructed on the east end of the subdivision. There's a NICOR project upstream of that brought an adequate outfall as required through our stormwater ordinance to the 24-inch outfall. Once that adequate outfall began to function correctly, it was noted that there were some failures in the connecting pipe. So we're requesting the use of the fee in lieu of detention that NICOR paid towards the project to be used to fix that downstream pipe, the 24-inch corrugated metal pipe, in the amount of $14,600. And we had 3 quotes on this project, and J&L Excavating was the low quote.
May we have a motion, please? Mr. Berman moves, Mr. Ford seconds.
Is this, are we talking about 9D?
No,
Okay,
9.
okay, I'm sorry. I was wondering why the contractor was different. Thanks.
C, 9C.
Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Rickball.
yeah, I'd like to know what caused the failure of this corrugated steel pipe.
The Prairie Farm subdivision was constructed about 40 years ago. At that time, it was common to use corrugated metal pipe. So the failure was a result of the pipe rusting out. Unfortunately, when the inspection was done with the original NICOR project, one of the previous landowners had replaced the section of corrugated metal pipe underneath their driveway. And that's what they inspected and believed to be the condition of the entire length of the pipe. However, once we had the new adequate outfall from the NICOR project connected into this pipe, we became aware that the downstream section was in failure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Berman. Ford. Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Wojnicki,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes. Motion carries. Item D.
The next project is the Church Molitor Drainage Improvement Project. This is located in unincorporated Aurora Township. It's a failed drain tile and surface flood route. The project runs across south of Molitor Road and east of Church Road across approximately 11 properties. The project will take the water coming under Church Road, build an inlet structure, and then run a drainage pipe all the way to Richard Avenue. Here's some photos of the failed surface route. We have some homeowner fixes that were attempted to get to the rear of their property. Across the drainage swale, we have a lot of vegetation that's grown up, and we also have some strange inlets into the failed drain tile system. So if you recall, this was one of our new SSAs. So the Community Development Block Grant is funding $139,600 of this because it is a low to moderate income area. Our cost share program is funding $17,799, and the SSA has a loan over the 10-year period of $17,799 for a total project cost of $175,198. We're recommending award of the contract to Connolly Excavating as the low bidder on this project.
Thank you. May we have a motion, please?
Motion, Berman.
Berman moves, Ford seconds. Do we have comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Ford. Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Wojnicki,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes. Motion carries. Item E.
Our next project for today is the Ogden Gardens Water Trust Water Storage Tank and Building. This is located in unincorporated Aurora Township, north of East New York Street, south of Liberty Street. It's the replacement of a water storage tank and building. This is phase one of a multiple phase project to rehabilitate the water system in this neighborhood that was originally constructed in the mid 1920s. This is again one of our newer SSAs that was required to be established to receive the Community Development Block Grant funding. These are just the design plans. It's a small garage-like building and will house the new water storage tank. So we're requesting approval to authorize the county to enter into a contract with Integral Construction for the Ogden Gardens Water Trust Water Storage Tank and Building in the amount of $300,520, which includes a 10% contingency. The contractor was not included in your original packet. We did just open bids last Thursday, and we have not worked with Integral in the past, so we were busy checking their references. So that was emailed out to you yesterday morning.
May we have a motion, please? Ford moves. Berman seconds. Do we have comments or questions?
Chairman,
Mr.
Ford. I just want to say it's great to see this project go forward. There've been many years of Aurora and even the county being involved before of trying to get this project off the ground. These people have been desperate need of help for a very long time.
Thank you. Ms. Winicky.
Jody, is Aurora part of the project at all?
They are not. We are going to be reviewing the replacement of the water main and services with the city of Aurora to ensure that it meets their standards if at any time the water trust desired to connect up to Aurora. But having discussed the water supply situation with the issues down in Joliet and the drawdown of our deep aquifer system, the water trust is actually in a shallower aquifer that's recharged quite readily. And so they're actually sitting in a very good position with their water supply. So we recommended that they remain on that shallow water supply for this area.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Hearing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Berman,
Yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Wojnicki,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Motion carries. Item F.
The last item we have before you this morning is on authorizing a contract with Huddleston McBride Drainage Services for the drainage consultant services for our cost share drainage program. With their 5-year contract was up, so purchasing department went out for a request for qualifications for that work. The sole applicant was Huddleston McBride, who has worked very well with our staff in the past and has been a great asset to the residents of the county when they're experiencing drainage problems that they can't figure out where the water is coming from. So we recommend awarding the contract with Huddleston McBride Drainage Services. It is a 1-year contract renewable for 4 years.
Wojnicki moves.
Barb moves, Mr. Fry seconds. Comments or questions? Barb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to put a good word in for Tom Huddleston. Huddleston and Jody and I go back a long way because I have so many drainage issues in the unincorporated areas in my district, and there's nobody better than Jody and Tom Huddleston. He's really got a handle on all of Kane County, where how all the water flows and where all the drain tiles are and all, everything else that goes with it. So
All the bodies are buried.
all the bodies are buried. There you go. So thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Berman,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Wojnicki,
Oh, yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes. Before we move on, I just want to make a quick editorial comment. As we do these projects, in my opinion, there's very few things that the county does that offers such direct relief and assistance to people. Everything else is a little vague, or it offers opportunities or whatever, but this is, this is significant, and much of this money comes from the riverboat funds. And I'm just making my pitch on behalf of the Development Committee to the chairman of the Riverboat Committee that this is to me a primary benefit that we provide, and we need to make certain that those funds are made available to the benefit of our citizenry. So you've got your marching orders now.
Yes, sir.
Get it straight.
Okay this year.
Mr. Kenyon.
We see the end of this, but quite often there's months of negotiation painfully
Right.
to get these people to go together and do it. And if the county wasn't here, they wouldn't get this drainage.
No, I
One out on Nancy Lane was
Yeah.
3 years.
Oh, it was
No,
way
it's-
longer.
no, it's
If she wasn't there to do the work, these people would be drowning in water for the rest of their lives.
no, I didn't mean by mentioning the riverboat to say that the staff is integral to this project.
Their work there's so much work that they do to get this stuff.
Well, there is, and if water disappears from your backyard, that's something you notice tomorrow morning. It's not something that's down the road or hypothetical or political. It's a true direct benefit to the people that elected us and put us here. So I just want to make sure we protect that capacity.
Mr. Chairman, Allen,
Miss Allen?
this also is connected to the Community Development Block Grant program, which we approved on Tuesday, a week ago, I believe. Jody is, as the engineer, is the connectivity, as Mr. Kenyon said, that these people don't have. And we can use the federal funds from CDBG and then the riverboat funds and our Jody expertise to put this together for people virtually all over unincorporated Kane County. So thanks for the coordination.
Thank you, Miss Allen. Barb?
I was just going to give a little bit of history for the newer members. When I was first elected, actually, Mr. Kenyon brought up Nancy Lane, and that's exactly what I had in my mind. I actually went out and toured Nancy Lane, and it wasn't 100-year flood. It was just a rainy, season. And I just couldn't believe the amount of water that were in people's backyards. One house had water clearly way over the septic field, right up to the back stoop. I mean, they couldn't even access their backyard. And it would just take weeks and weeks for that water to go down. And it's not always easy because Nancy Lane there's a high portion and a low portion. Of course, the low portion was the portion flooding. So the neighbors at the higher portion aren't always in favor of contributing to the cost share program. So that alone was a challenge as well. But anyway, it was all Jody and Tom Huddleston did a great job, and that it's really, neighbors have been very, very happy out there. So it's a very good project, very good. Yeah.
We will now move on to the Office of Community Reinvestment. Mr. Berger.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Martin, this is Scottberger. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. We do have one item for your consideration today. It's a resolution regarding a special allocation of community development funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Using a formula allocation approach, HUD has awarded Kane County just over $2.3 million in supplemental CDBG funding. These funds were included in our annual action plan, which, as Ms. Allen just mentioned, was approved at last week's county board meeting. For efficiency's sake, our office folded these funds into our 2021 annual call for project proposals, and these funds will be used to support a combination of neighborhood infrastructure improvements in the Ogden Garden subdivision, which you just discussed, as well as utility assistance for lower income households. Our resolution does three things. It establishes a special revenue fund in the county's ledger so that we can properly account for the special allocation of funds. It adopts a budget for the portion of the allocation that we expect will be received and expended during the remainder of county fiscal year 2021. And then finally, it extends our current line of credit so that inter-fund loans can be established by the finance department in advance of receiving reimbursements from the federal government. I do apologize, but I want to mention that we will need to make a minor adjustment to the resolution that's in your packet. Specifically, we need to strike the last item in the budget section involving IT transfer. And then we'll need to make an adjustment to the first line in the budget section under the CDBG CV grant amount. But at this time, we would like to ask you to send this on to the Finance Committee next Wednesday as amended, as I just described. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have a motion? Moves. Mr. Fry seconds. Do we have comments or questions? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon, Wojnicki,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes. Motion carries. Again, benefits to our county from outside sources. We should thank not only the outside source, but the people that administer it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Settlers Hill end use update. I don't know as a certainty, but this may be the last time that this is on the agenda because on the 21st, there's an open house of the new facility, and on the 28th, they begin running events. So the residue of funds is going to be turned over to the Forest Preserve per our prior agreement. And this will no longer be a development committee agenda item.
Says.
Sounds kind of good.
There you go.
Does anybody have any questions of Jody before we move on this topic? Okay. We have no new business that I'm aware of. Does anybody else want to bring anything up? Anybody have a motion, please, to place reports on file? Mr. Fraz moves. Mr. Berman seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye. Aye. Same sign. Motion carries. We have no executive session. And we have a motion to adjourn. Mr. Kenyon moves. Board seconds. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.
Oh no, where did that go?
Hang in.